Okay, thank you, Tejaswini, for the introduction. First of all, I would like to congratulate everyone present here. Now, specifically for three things. Now, first is we have all fought through this toughest time in the 21st century. We never would have thought कि कोविड जैसी कोई सिचुएशन कभी आएगी और हम लोग को शायद साल भर घर पे रहना पड़ेगा, शायद ये किसी ने एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था. सेकेंडली, आई वांट टू कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट ऑन योर टैलेंट्स एंड एबिलिटीज uh, that you have been part of some institutes, prestigious institutes in Maharashtra. And the third is like you are just few steps closer to making a mark in technologies and in like the solutioning. And this is where we step in, or should I rephrase? This is where you step in. So let me just introduce myself. I'm Mahendra, and I've been working with WonderBiz for around the past 8 years. Okay. Now, my journey has been very interesting when it comes to WonderBiz. I knew one of the co-founders in my last organization. He was my project manager, and he left and founded WonderBiz in some time. Then, when I was looking for an opportunity, the work mostly was done in my company. I was looking for a opportunity, and since we have worked together, he offered me a job. Okay. So he already knew me, like what kind of a work I do and whatnot. The only condition that I had with these guys was like, okay, I'll join you, but I actually want to learn more. Okay. At that point of time, money was not the first concern for me because I knew the more you learn, the more you'll get eventually. Okay. So that was the funder that I was having. And since this was a startup, like I was the first employee, right? So they said, yes, there'll be many challenges, many more things to learn, and you will definitely get it. And that was the reason that I joined. And if I look back now, all of those promises were fulfilled. Okay, I have worked in many tech stacks, many frames, and then many solutions, many different projects from different domains. And because of that, I think my thinking level the exposure to different things has risen to a very good level. Okay, and also I would like to quote one example. Say, as WonderBiz, when I was the first one, we got project from GE. I know like most of you guys must have known GE, General Electric. It's a very big company, has got like their branches all over the world, and we got the first project from GE. Now just consider that as it's a startup getting their first project from General Electric. Okay, and thanks to all the the experience, the should I say the impact our founders had in that time, we were able to get it, and we were able to successfully deliver that project. Now, what was challenging in that was like we were a startup, that was the first project, and the technologies that actually were employed for the solutioning of that project include like big data, NoSQL, and then many free JavaScript based frameworks like Backbone. Now, think about it, like 8 years back, it was like 8 years back we were doing this. Okay, so I was kind of thrilled through that, like whatever I was getting, and eventually down the line, all the other projects that I've done, I think they were from separate, like totally different domains. Okay, and due to which, and since they were not from the same domain, the solutions were different, the approaches were different. Okay, the tech stack was different. Okay, and this is the reason if there has been so much learning. Okay, and the mentoring that I got from the co-founders, the founders, CTO, CEO that we have, I think the level of maturity that I had before and now, I could see the difference is large. Okay, now regarding the domain, like I said, okay, so WonderBiz is typically like domain agnostic company. Okay, so typically you will see companies like मतलब कोई कंपनी फाइनेंस में होती है, कुछ कोई हेल्थ केयर में होता है, कोई किसी एक चीज़ में होता है, एंड दे टिपिकली डू प्रोडक्ट्स इन दैट पर्टिकुलर डोमेन ओनली, राइट? एंड दे काइंड ऑफ बिल्ड देयर एक्सपर्ट, दे डोंट डू एनीथिंग एल्स. बट फॉर अस वी हैव बिन लाइक डोमेन एग्नोस्टिक. सो आज एक प्रोजेक्ट में मैंने एक डोमेन पे काम किया है, वी ग्रैब दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग, मैच्योर आवरसेल्फ, create the product, deliver the product, and then you get transition to a different project, probably from a different domain, and then you restart this exercise of learning. So there is a constant learning, constant teaching also. Okay, so that's the way we have been doing. Now I'll give you certain examples. So like I said, I was the first employee in 8 years, and then it's like 8 years from then to now, I see from 1 to strength of 45. Now you might have wondered कि 8 साल में सिर्फ 45 है कैसे, right? So we believe in quality hiring, not in like mass hiring. So we are very selective in choosing whom should we hire with. And the reason why is, even though we are small, okay, 45K इसमें भी बहुत सारी छोटी छोटी teams हैं, और ये छोटी teams typically they don't, like the number of team members in each team typically doesn't go more than 5, right? So but the reason that we do slow hiring is like our teams, these small teams had made major impact in the market. Okay, so in such a way that the clients which has different vendors, so we are kind of a solution partner to them, right? So we don't create our own products, but we help the clients to create their own products. So we are a kind of a technology partner to them. So for many clients, it's like we are one of the technology partners. They are working with some other companies which are their technology partners, but they choose to prefer us because we are small, we are efficient, we think the right way, and we're able to actually make an impact. Okay, so that's the way we do. And how do we do it consistently? Okay, the first thing comes from hiring. So we do slow but quality hiring. We don't do hiring like mass hiring and mass firing kind of a thing that typically big MNCs do. We don't have a bench kind of a system. जब भी कोई hire होता है, that guy is put into the project as early as possible. He's guided the right way, right? And when it comes to freshers, right? So you guys have gathered here, looking out for the first job. I know the energy levels are like varying in different people. Some people are really high, okay, excited. Some people are anxious, they are nervous. But don't worry, the platform is same for all. Don't be nervous. There's no reason to be nervous. We are free. We accept that sometimes you don't feel very comfortable because this is your first time in an interview, probably, right? So being nervous is fine. That's okay. But don't let it impact your the delivery that you, or the interview that you're going to do. Okay, so this nervousness actually sometimes gets carried forward. So we are somehow able to screen people. Okay, when we interview them, maybe they are nervous, we try to make them comfortable. We try to get as much as information about the candidate, what he does, what not. And we just keep this nervous part aside because we know that happens typically. So once they come in, now the other part which I mentioned earlier, how do we consistently create an impact? Okay, so because the team size is growing, we have to make sure the previous teams which had made an impact, we have to do it with the new team also, the new onboard, like the new person actually who has been onboarded. So what we do is like we typically have a custom onboarding plan for every person that like who joins specifically, and then there is a mentoring that is given to the person. Now this mentoring is not actually कि उंगली पकड़ के चलना सिखाना वैसा वाला नहीं होता है. It's typically like they are given a direction, they were given a path, and they are given time to do that, and they are given good amount of exposure and challenges. कि बट ठीक है, ये है, ऐसे ऐसे करने के options है. You also look out कि तुम्हारा क्या there are different solutions. अभी to solve a problem there can be many ways, right? So we also like kind of encourage these candidates कि वो you go and think कि क्या हो सकता है, and we also mentor them कि these are the few directions that you should learn, you should check into, so that you can evolve your thinking. Okay, and then we actually add them into live projects and by giving them small tasks. Okay, and then surprisingly, like most of the times they just do surprises by kind of doing like enormously good kind of work. Okay, I'll give an example. Recently there was a hire that we did in last year. Last year. And then we took him, we had an onboarding plan, a minimal onboarding plan, like I said. And then we put him in a project. Now, there was a demo that we had, okay. So we thought, okay, why not, since he's a new guy, he should learn how to do demo. So we talked about it, कि demo कैसे देना है, क्या है, what should be the points. And then he prepared the demo by himself. He demoed the entire delivery that was supposed to be given. And then it went well. All the work that he had done was showcased to the customer कि ये हुआ है, वो है, all these things were considered, ये चीज़ों का ध्यान रखा हुआ है, ये चीज़ों का ध्यान रखा हुआ है, and all these things were covered. The day went fine, happy everyone. Okay. And then I think then I had a kind of a usual chat with the client a few days later. We were talking on to something, and then somehow it just went on to the route like, okay, what about this guy? What about that guy? I was just kind of inquiring with the client how comfortable he is with the new people who have joined the team. So, and to my surprise, he asked, okay, what's the experience of this guy? Like, he named that person. And then I said, this guy is just a fresh. He joined a couple of months back, and we kind of trained him, and now he's in the project. And now we have kind of given him the work, and that which he demoed to you last time. To his surprise, he was so surprised. He said, "Okay, like, he was like, oh, I thought he had a couple of years of experience." Now that coming from the client is actually makes an impact to us, because that literally tells us that we are in the right direction. So that the mentoring, the way we are mentoring them, the way we are, nurturing them, giving them the opportunities, or kind of explore themselves, is in the right direction. And by doing so, for with every new person in the team, we are kind of making the team effective. So if the team is effective, obviously the company is going to be effective. If the company is going to be effective, the deliveries are going to be effective. So that's why we have selective hires, quality ones, and then this is the way we do it. And there are sometimes when people get nervous, but we all usually take care they don't be nervous, and we make them comfortable as soon as early, the more easier way we can. Okay, so that's one part of it. And then if I talk about the technologies, okay, so earlier in my day, like in total, I have around like 13 plus years of experience in my field right now. So in the earlier days, people used to choose between like Java and .NET. Those were the only two options usually people had. Okay, but nowadays, if you see, it's not just that. There are many open source platforms or languages that are there. I recently I've seen there is a boom in Python. Like everybody's running for Python. Okay, and then there was this term full stack developer. It was not there when I was like in my early days. At least this term was not that pitching. But nowadays, if you see, everybody wants to be full stack dev. Everybody wants to know the back end, the front end, the services side, how to deploy them. This is what the market is doing, and this is what all the people in our company are doing right now. So they are not just given one single responsibility कि तू यही कर और तू वही करेगा, वैसा नहीं है. So like everybody does everything, so they get their hands dirty on everything, and that's why they kind of get more exposure to it, and that's why they are kind of learning more. And this learning is kind of passed from one person to other down. So and we don't have any hierarchies over here. It's like our culture is very open. We don't have any cubicles. Like typically offices में होता है ना कि cubes, छोटे छोटे cubes होते हैं. We don't have that. It's like an open place. You can sit on a bean bag, you can go out, sit on a sofa, जहाँ बैठना है बैठो और काम करो. And then it's like, and for the process of learning, you can also do cross teams. Like तुम्हारे प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में तुम तो तुम्हारा काम कर ही रहे हो, लेकिन अगर तुम्हें किसी और के प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में इंटरेस्ट है, you can go and just talk to them, and they'll be happy to like share it. And there's one, and also if you feel that if you can contribute there also, it's fine. We encourage people to do things. We encourage people to question. We encourage people to give solutions, not necessarily just for their project. Probably it can be for the other projects, because eventually it's all for betterment of everyone, right? So that is one. Our vision is very straight. We want to be valuable to the customers, and the way to do it is what we already have a recipe to, and I think that has worked well so far. Okay, I think that's it. On the other hand, there's one point to it which I would like to stress on. So when I talked about that there is a learning, right? So we give an exposure to the candidates who join in, and we give them the opportunities. We do mentor them, but on the other hand, there's a certain aspect which is expected from the person who's joining. Is like they have to work hard, or rather they have to work smart. Because if you're given everything, you should be smart enough to consume it in a right way. Then only it's like the right combination or to go with. So I'll expect like whatever, like however you are, you should be smart enough. Okay, you should be knowing where to work hard, where to work smart, and that is an essential recipe. And you need to be flexible, right? Now probably you're learning Python. Fine, because recently I've seen the trend, like everybody doing Python. Earlier it was like Java or .NET. But you need to be flexible, because if you are not flexible, then probably if you're given a problem statement from a different domain, then probably you'll suffer because you don't feel yourself flexible. So the reason I survived is like I had been flexible in these things. So I did multiple tech stacks. Okay, the learning, there is some learning, but I think which is fine. Once you grab hold of one tech stack, learning some other tech stack hardly takes some time. It's all logical, and that's what we are looking for. So in today's interview process, what what we'll be focusing on is like your logic and reasoning, because that is what will be you'll be using throughout. Languages will be, there are many languages. It's just languages, just a way of expressing your thoughts. मतलब it's not like तुम सिर्फ इंग्लिश में नहीं लिख रहे हो, बट तुम उसको एक्सप्रेस कर रहे हो in a way. So coding is fine, but it's the logic and the reasoning that is more important. So I hope like I have given you sufficient information, at least on the company, how we work, what all we work on, and so it's a day long like kind of a schedule today. And I know you have been energy ऐसा पकड़ के रखा हुआ है कि हाँ we have to go through. I'll give you best of luck for today's interview, and don't be nervous first of all. Okay, give 100% what you have, and I'll expect to see you soon. Okay, all right, thank you.